Hey, John here. So I'm in the middle of redoing my deck, replacing deck wood and painting these railings, right? This is that veranda stuff, the white railing system from Home Depot. They sell that stuff. They sell a couple of brands, but this is the veranda stuff. And my problem with it was like almost immediately every year it would turn, I don't know if you can make that out, this green. If you have a white railing, you'll know what I'm talking about. This green crap that just develops every year, and you have to power wash it, and it's kind of hard to keep up with maintain-wise. So, decided to paint it and do a few moves. But the actual posts that the railings sit on, I built this railing system. Geez, I don't know, several years ago now, and the posts started getting weak, and I'll show you why. But I just wanted to go over not the actual painting of this, but the building the post because they're expensive. I'll show you in a second. Here, hold on a second. So first of all, this is a piece of decking that I replaced, but it has that flange there that the actual post sat on, and you bolt it down to the deck. As you can see on the left there, those are bolted to the deck. But from the underneath, uh, you were able to, use lags or whatever you have, bolts, screws, to mount the 4x4 post. This is if you're not going to use the engineered stuff, because it was $50 a post, and I'll get into that in a second. But this is what I did then, and years ago, and it lasted. But I noticed that things were getting weak, and I knew I wanted to replace some decking and stain the deck and do some painting. So I'm replacing stuff now, and then I discovered, yeah, I'm not going to buy. Let me show you what these engineered things look like first. So, like I said, I'm doing a little bit at a time, but I'm taking parts of the railing down and painting them, and in the middle of staining the deck, and I've already replaced a lot of wood. But what I wanted to get at is these posts, right? Not the vinyl sleeve, but the actual anchoring post deal. You can make your own, and that's why I'm today's video is going to be about that, as opposed to buying these things, because that's I got 9 of these posts, and like I said, I just showed you the way I did it, and it was just wicking water up. Unbeknownst to me, it was underneath. You can't see anything, and they got weak, and because it's pressure treated, it didn't really bother the wood, but it was the screws that go into the wood and into the decking that got affected and weak. So this is one of the engineered deals. Like I said, they're about 50 bucks if you need 9 of them. Well, I didn't want to spend that kind of money on this if I can make one. I didn't know if I can make one, but I did make some, and they turned out pretty good. And again, this is the reason for the video. Let me show you, what I did. I'll take you along and show you some thought process and stuff. But the end result is these posts are, well, they're free for me because I had some scrap wood, and these are actually the original posts, cut up, obviously, sawed up. And if you're interested, stick around. I'll show you what I did to save a little money. And again, if it was free for me because if I had scrap metal and the wood, but to build your own, I'm not sure if it would be cheaper than using the engineered stuff. But I'm just showing you, what I did in case I don't know, give you some ideas and go along there. So that's where I'm at. Just wanted to point out a couple things. So there's the engineered, that one's not mounted. I still got to lag that in. And you can either lag them in if they're, you can't get to it. If you could use a through bolt to get, a bolt and a nut, that'd probably be a better way to go. But this is obviously hidden, so I'm just going to be using the 3/8 inch lag bolts. But as you can see, their sleeve goes up and down, and this is what you would plug your railing into. Screw it into the plastic there, and you can probably see those holes there. That's why I got it turned around that way, just so when it comes time we can, fresh holes, fresh stock there. But you can see there's slip up to get to the lag bolts. I did mine a little different. I just mounted these. Same idea though, but I do have a screw here and a screw here to hold it. In terms of, they have a lip on there as it sits on the actual post. My post is a little bit thinner. This is 1.5 inches. The original one is 2 inches, and the feet that I put on here are bigger than theirs in terms of, I don't know what that is, probably 3.5. I'm probably the size of a 4x4, but I did mine a little larger because, the sleeve that fits over on the bottom there, it covers everything. But the reason I put the bolt here is to hold it in place. you know, obviously your railings plug in here, but to hold it in place, what was I gonna? Oh, so yeah, I could slide this up and then drill my holes for the lags, and you know, get it that way, and then put it back down, put the bolt back in. It's just one of those. You know, the video will explain all how I made this, but the idea was to get this off of. I didn't need it to wick again. The other way we had it, this flange, the white one, was screwed into the bottom of a solid piece of 4x4, and that worked, like I said, for a while. And for years actually, and they still held up, but you know, this is solid here. And I noticed that the railings, once you plug all these railings in, it stiffens it up anyways, but I noticed the railings were kind of like weaker than they were, and that's because, you know, things got water involved, and then like I showed you, the screws are rusted and things got weak. So anyway, stick around, I'll show you how we made these, or maybe give some ideas on if you want to make your own, you know, go from there. So we got them all primed up, you know, sanded up, primed up, you know, and we'll get to the paint later. But so these poles here, right? These are the engineered things with the plastic sleeve that goes over. These are like $50 a piece. So I have 4 of them, and I'll use them for certain anchors. But I was going to buy, because I need 9 of them all together. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay, you know, $300, $400, $500 for stuff that I can make. So that's what I'm going to do. I was just toying around with it. So I don't have. This might be a 2-inch deal. I got some 1.5 inch stuff, square tubing, and I found this, you know, scrap metal here. So I just cut these out. They're a little warm still. And this plate, these are the original plates that I was using, and the wood sat on here, and you know, and it kind of wicked up and kind of got rotted. I could probably use these again, clean them up, but at this point, and I might for 1 or 2 of them, I made 4 of these, and they're a little bit bigger because I use this to trace it out with the plasma cutter. So it's a little bit bigger, but not quite as big. So I'll go ahead and drill some holes and weld the pipe, the square tubing. I got some out back here, plenty of it. And then and how I'm going to do the plastic part, which obviously I can't do the plastic part. We're going to do it out of some of the old posts that we have, right? Because this was the original post. This is, you know, what kind of, the screws got rotted out, right? And it worked good. I mean, they're 10 years old. I mean, or whatever it is. I forgot when I put these on, but they work pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, because I got an 1.5 inch pipe to deal with, I'm going to slice these on a table saw for 1 inch a piece, and then I'll rebuild them with glue and, you know, tack them together, and then it'll be like the plastic sleeve, but it'll be out of wood. So I think it'll be better, actually. You see how pressure treated, so you know, it'll slide right over that than the one I built. Anyways, that's where I'm just filling in what I'm doing here. I cleaned up to weld some pipe on there, but I'm going to use these 2 because they're pretty thick for the top railing, you know, verticals. And I need 9 posts, so I have 4 of those, you know, store-bought one for $50, and these ones that we're making for free are. I'm going to do the other 4 in the middle, but the plan is taking some square stock like this, right, welding that to that, and again, theirs is 2 inches, this is 1.5 inches. It's going to be the same thing, but it's going to work out better because, like I said, I'm going to slice up some wood, you know, to have my wood sleeve instead of a plastic sleeve. I'll show you the progress, but let me get these, well, first, before I weld these pipes on, I do want to drill holes while I can right now, make it easier. So I don't know if I'm going to drill, you know, this is kind of a universal deal. I don't need that many holes. I'm just going to do like the original, just put some 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6. I don't know. We'll see. So the pipe has to go in the center because, you know, when we put this on the deck, you need that pipe. You can't just weld it on anywhere. You know, as close to the center as I can. I don't care about center-wise. Is more of the terms of, you know, if it's like this, we're screwed. We got to have it, you know, the pipe welded on square. I guess what I'm saying. But the holes themselves don't have to be. I'm just going to do small to big. Doesn't have to be. You know, we can make the holes anywhere on the outside perimeter as long as it's within the wood. So not worried about this part. So let me drill these up, and then we'll get to centering. that's that. So 3/8 holes, 3/8 holes on each of the corners, and that should do the trick. Now we'll go ahead and center the 1.5 inch tube there, and that'll be that. Then we'll get cutting some wood, and we'll have some posts that are free. So I pick up all this scrap metal, and you know, this is all 1.5 inch pipe, and I'm sorting through there trying to look for a straight one. It's a good reason why they're scrap, right? But I did find a way to unbend them. Let's pick a pretty bent one here, like this one here. Yeah, so this one has a pretty good bend in it. I don't know if you can make that out. Like, you know, it's got a pretty big bend in it. Watch this. Yeah. So just bouncing on this thing. I already straightened out a couple of them. And you don't need much. Of course, I'm 200 pounds, but just kind of working it. And I went too far a couple of times. Just turn around and go the other way. It comes out straight. Believe it or not. Yeah, look at that. Just that alone. Now we don't need all this. We don't need this whole thing. In terms of, you know, we're going to cut this to 36 inches or whatever it is. Take this out of the cradle. It's way better than it was. And like I said, because we're only going to use, like that's straight enough for me. We're just going to use, you know, whatever piece. I'll find the straightest piece in this whole thing and just cut 36 inches off. And I only need a couple of them, so. So I was able to just 2 bars to get 4 out. It was 30. This thing is 37.5, and it just happened to be just before these spring action deals. Well, that actually cut a little bit of the spring. That one, I think that was this end. I'll probably use that as a base on the bottom. But I got. Well, I just want to show you they're perfectly straight both ways. So we're good with scrap metal. Now let's get these welded on to our little things, right? So we're almost good to go here. So how I'm finding the center is, especially on the square ones, is easy because I got the tips. The round one, I'm gonna have to eyeball it, but you know, just making an X, and then we take our pipe, right, and then just a line where the marks come through. Boom, 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 and boom, and that's our center. This one with the round thing, we're just gonna have to get it close enough because I traced that other thing out. There's no square. So we'll just do it by eye. It's basically, it's going to be close enough. So I'm out a lot there. Well, I don't know if I am or not. Yeah, just to tick off. It's all right. Fat black magic marker. Again, we don't have to be super accurate on this. Just close enough. Same thing. When it comes time to it, and we tack these on, we'll just align these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. All right, so we got 5. So I'm just going to throw some paint on, you know, the welds and where I ground it down, just to, you know, stop it, because these posts are galvanized, so they'll be fine. But I do want to protect the welds a little bit. But there we go. 3, 4, 5. I needed to make 5. I have 4 of them. We had 9 posts, so 4 of the engineered ones. And of course our own engineered ones. We'll see how that works out. Let's go saw some wood up and try to figure this thing out. So we got the meat done, right? Just threw a little paint on for the welds and stuff. Like I said, the bar itself is galvanized, so, or you know, lightly coated galvanized. So just where I ground down, you know, I don't want it to rust, although it ain't gonna matter. It's gonna be inside stuff. Anyways, next step is the potatoes, right? So that's just a matter of measuring, and they measure 3 3¾ from edge to edge, right? In a block of wood, you know, the 4x4s. Hold on a second. Can measure anywhere between, like this one looks like less than 3¾ and this one is even less than that, almost 3 and whatever that says. In other words, I was thinking an inch, just slicing this as an inch, because the pipe is 1.5 inches. So 1 inch, the 1.5 inch pipe plus 1 inch on all sides, that's 3.5 inches. But I'm gonna use a little bit thicker. And again, the plastic doesn't lie, that's not gonna change. These things are a little bit, you know, different. And I'm sure you know, within an eighth of an inch. That's why I'm going to leave an eighth of an inch, and we'll just do it that way. I guess it doesn't matter what this is because we know that the sleeve, the white post sleeve, is 3 3/4 exactly from the, you know, the ID. So I'm going to go ahead and set the table saw at 1.16 inches, or as close as I can get it to 1.16 inches by measurement, and then we'll go from there. We'll have the two sides, which 1.16 inches will give us not too tight, not too sloppy. It should be perfect, but the other two sides we'll have to find. We got something to work with, and I did hit a screw, I guess, was left in there somewhere. So I probably do need a new blade. Anyways, this is what I'm getting at. So this should be, right, this here and this here is what it is. Whatever it is, inch and, or 3 and, whatever it was, 3 and, let's see here. That ain't going to change. The part that's going to change is, maybe we can call it 3 5/8. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But 3 5/8, and that tube is 3 3/4. So to take up the tube, you know, to have at least one side of that tube snug, not like where we have to hammer it on, we're going to have to make the distance between these 2 points 3 3/4. That's what I'm getting at. So this is what I'm getting at. So these are the 1.16 inches, or as close as I can get, but you see how there's still play in here. Right, it's touching on there because it's but there's still a little play in here. That's the 1.5 inch post. So my thought is this, because this is also cut down to 1.16 inches, but we don't care about the 1.16 inches this way. What we need to do is find this difference, and then at least two sides of this will be snug as we can get it. So it looks like if we cut 1 3/4 inches, because you got to, you know, mind your tab there, that should be a perfect fit. So 1.16 inches, plus I had to adjust it. I see here, so it's pretty snug right there. So of course the bar doesn't go all the way, but it's snug down there. But that's what we're gonna do. Let me cut another piece at this angle, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and nail this and glue it. I'll go out and get one of those posts. This ain't gonna be long enough, but you know, that's what I'm saying. So that should do the trick, right? It's got a burr on there, so let me go get a post out there, and then we'll actually match them up. Once I get this nailed and glued, we'll keep them to the same post that I've done. But that's, and I don't know if I'm going to go the entire length. I don't know, because like I said, the other one, the engineered stuff, the plastic is only yay long. Although I do have a lot of this 4x4 stuff, so why not make it the whole thing? Be nice and heavy duty, right? Let's keep going. So I did have to get a new blade out. It was taking forever. The old ripper over there, all this things makes cutting that wood easy. So I ended up going with 1.16 inches on the two outsides, and then 1.5 inches with the wood that was left over, which made two of them. You know, so that's going to be our. I've already got one done actually. So what I ended up doing is using this. This clear Gorilla Glue Max Strength Construction Adhesive, because it basically does everything, but I liked it. Said you can even do it wet. Right? We had some wet wood, but anyways, I put a bead on you know, all the things, and then I put brad nails, just a little or is it a little nailer there, right? Clamped it around the pole, and then did that. And now this thing fits over our new, right? And then this thing fits over that. Perfect. Uh-oh. Like so. I got some glue on there. Nasty. So, and that's it. And the post is in there. So what I'm going to do is I've got them all cut up there. I just got to nail and glue them together. 1, 2, 3, 4 posts that size. All right, so it's been 24 hours since the glue or the adhesives have dried. So what I did is took the engineered one, just set this fence up for that, and just put everything through, you know, to clean everything up. Little nails that might have been poking through, and as you can see, it shaved a little bit off on all sides. So now this should fit in this tube over here, nice and snug. All right, so the next move here is I'm going to have to cut, you know, 1 foot sections, right? Because I've got 4 posts built here. I need 5. I do have another post, but I thought I'm not going to do the whole post just because I don't know why. Why did I say? I don't know. But I'm going to do just like they did. They got, whatever that says, this is not even a foot. So I'm going to cut mine a foot, find, you know, the good wood, and cut them 1 foot. All right, so just in case you were following along, you know, this engineered tube has, it's a pretty tight fit with those plastic around their 2-inch pole there, right? But they got little flanges on the top and the bottom. I'm going to make that out. So, of course, this piece wouldn't be on there, and you put that piece first, the bottom piece, and you'd put this tube bloop, right down to the bottom, and then put this plastic piece in there, and everything's tight, right? Because of the flanges. I don't have the flanges on a wood, so I measured this pole as 39 inches. So we just need to be below 39 inches. And of course, our wood is way, you know, thicker. I don't know what that measures, 6 to 8 inches, whatever that is. We got a foot to deal with, meaning where the, you know, where the actual railings plug into. So we got plenty of room. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got this support, and this is supported here. So my wood is not quite as, you know, if you try to move this, this is pretty tight fit, right? So my tolerances aren't that tight, and plus, not only that, wood could expand, contract, or whatever. So could the vinyl. So there's a little bit of. So what I'm going to do is just add a fingertip here, right, to the bottom. This is where our bottom rail plugs into, and then I'm just going to use a little drill bit with the countersink because I don't want to split the wood. I'm going to drill a hole with a countersink there. Then I'm going to put one of these, and this, you could use this without the countersink, but I want to have this removable in case I have to do whatever. But I didn't want to split the wood, but it does go through metal. As you can see, this is, you know, these little ears would do the same thing as that, but there's a chance when this cone hits it, that, because I'm close to the edge here, it's going to split that wood, but now it won't. So that's what I'm going to do here. So then, so from the bottom where the floor would be, or the deck, up to this sleeve is 39 inches, right? On a plastic sleeve. So I'm just measuring 38 and a half, 38 and a quarter, whatever. Just leave a ½ inch of space, because you don't want it poking up. We want, you know, a ½ inch of space will just give it a little, you know, because the railing's going to be down here somewhere. I just don't want it poking up a little bit, because, you know, when we put our things on there, if something's poking up, it might impede. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing the 2 screws, and I'll tell you why. Because too close to the edge. The reason why, and I put a fingertip here, is because I could take this bolt out, right? Take it out and put it in. The hole will always be there. But the reason is because I have to put these lags in, you know, for the deck. So when I get this up on the deck, you know, we got to position everything, put the lag bolts in, or if you're going with through bolts, if you've got that option, whatever you're going to do to mount this plate to the deck. I don't need this thing in the way, obviously, so they're removable. But doing it this way is just, it's going to keep it secure. And using a fingertip or a 1/2 inch or whatever you got, it's also going to allow, the water is not going to settle and wick up like it did before. Anyways, let me just do the rest of these poles. And that's that. So the sleeve, and it's a 1/2 inch down, so when we put our cap on and our base plate, it's going to hide everything, hide the bolts. The engineered one, $50. Obviously, this is free. Well, free for me. Similar, a little different. Obviously, this one has a 1.5 inch post. Mine, or no, they have a 2-inch post. Mine's an 1.5 inch post, but the actual foot on the one I did is got a bigger foot. Yeah, one thing to point out, the original ones come with like plastic shims, because your deck, you might fall in between two slats, and it might have a little undulation there. So there's because you're gonna have to level these posts, right? So what I ended up doing is I had some scrap sheet metal. This is pretty thick stainless stuff, and if I needed to have, when you're using your level here, if you need to level it one way or the other, or 2 ways or whatever, you can slide some shims under there. And the reason why they're stainless, because it's not going to rust or the pressure treated won't affect it. Same with the galvanized. That's why I went with the galvanized legs. But you could put it under here, for instance, and it would, it's a shim basically. So, and believe it or not, there are shims under there. You just can't see them. And because when you bolt it down, again, you want this thing to be level. You don't want it to be cockeyed, especially, that's the reason for the string there. You want these things to be perfectly aligned. So when you're looking down your railing system, you don't have, post all the way. Anyway, so I've got a ways to go. Obviously, I'm not even halfway down here, but it's a lengthy process because you do a little over time. Plus it's been raining every weekend, so you could stain a little bit one day, build a little bit one day. So it's taken a while, but probably not going to have the finished product looking, but this is close enough. So anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time.